What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham, Jason Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. So technically this aired on the USA Network first. I heard it is being added to the WWE Network in the next couple of days. It may have already been added, if I'm not mistaken, but it did air after Raw on the USA Network this past Monday. It's called WWE Road to Evolution, the road to this Sunday's all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution. I thought it would be like an hour-long special featuring all these clips from years past, and obviously it was kind of a montage from years past of how they got from point A to point B, but they really kind of gloss over a lot of stuff. Excuse me. They gloss over a lot of stuff from years past, and they only really start like 2015 onward, and then there's a lot of stuff that happened in between that they talk about only for like 10 seconds. And I thought, again, it would be like an hour-long special. It was only 20 minutes. And the thing with this special, I'll break it down in a second. The thing with this special, it's great and all. I'm very happy they're making this pay-per-view out to be a big deal, which it is. At the same time, the build has been very lackluster, at least in my opinion. It really has not been what it could and should be. And I think they're just kind of banking on the fact that it's historic. It's the first ever all-women's pay-per-view. And you know what? That's amazing. That's great. But they have done nothing to make me care about the show. And this special did nothing to add to my excitement to the upcoming pay-per-view whatsoever. It really felt like the scraps of like one of those old WWE 24 specials, which they've done at least 2 or 3 on with the women over the last couple of years. They did one with them back in 2016, which I don't think I reviewed here on the channel. I probably will go back and watch it and review it at some point. They did one for the Women's Royal Rumble earlier this year, which was great, and maybe another one too. I feel like they've done another Women's Evolution one, maybe just those 2. But this felt like that, just within like 20 minutes and not 60 minutes. And there was a lot of a lot of quotes that made me roll my eyes. A lot of quotes from fucking Stephanie McMahon. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is all one big promotional piece. Like, hey, look at us. Look how progressive we are. Even though it took the world, really took the world to make us change. They outright admit in this special, which I'll talk about momentarily, that it was the fans that encouraged the company to change. The company changed, but only kicking and screaming. They got dragged at that point by the fans because fans were sick and tired of their women being treated like shit. So it's not like the company's like, oh, we're going to start taking your women more seriously. Yeah, because the fucking fans, it was our, not all of our, not all the credit comes to us. It's a lot of it goes to the talent. But what I'm trying to emphasize here was that it wasn't WWE. It was not WWE at the end of the day who said, let's start changing the perception of our women. It wasn't. It was the fans, and more importantly, the women involved, that were like, we're sick of this shit. We got to speak up and start doing things to change how we're booked and portrayed on the weekly television shows. So anyway, they kick off this special with a quick recap of the evolution of women's wrestling in WWE from where it used to be in the 80s, 90s, and now today. They quickly recap the Women's Rumble from earlier this year. Becky Lynch said, when we knew we were going to main event, there were chills. Talking about how the women main evented that Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which I was at, and it was a great match. It was a great show. Trish Stratus talks about how it used to be with the bras and panties matches that women didn't take the fans didn't take the women seriously, and the matches were just a complete joke. And then they fast forward, they talk about that for like 10 seconds, and they quickly fast forward to the Give Divas a Chance movement with the Bella Twins, where it was an episode of Raw back in, I think, 2015, where it was the Bella Twins versus Paige and Emma. Paige and Emma got beat in like 30 seconds, if that. People were just pissed. They got hashtag Give Divas a Chance trending on Twitter. Stephanie had to respond. Vince responded, and he goes, oh yeah, we're listening. It's like, dude, again, if it takes your fans to be pissed on social media and just kind of like, not rebel, but in a way, not like violently or anything, but if it takes your fans to complain, bitch, and cry about your women not being used the right way, that's not exactly a good look on the company. And they outright admit that here without actually saying that. So that's why the whole Give Divas a Chance thing, like, again, it wasn't the company. It was the fans who turned the company onto the idea like, hey, this is kind of bullshit. Start treating your women with more respect and give them more time and whatnot. And it still didn't work for a long time. 2015 was the beginning of something new for the women, but this was just the seeds being planted. And I remember Stephanie tweeting something. They didn't include the tweet from AJ Lee calling Stephanie out for being a fucking hypocrite and all the other dumb shit and not treating the women with any respect that Stephanie did not respond to. They didn't include that tweet. AJ Lee was nowhere to be seen on this special. Anyway, Stephanie, speaking of whom, talks about how the women started to steal the show when given the opportunities. Like, okay, but you never gave them the opportunities to begin with. And I know like 10 years ago, they had a lot worse women on their roster, like Kelly. Kelly improved to her credit, but there were a lot of people that had no fucking business wrestling in 10-minute matches, including Jillian Hall. She sucked. A lot of women. Rosa Mendez, she sucked. There were so many bad women's wrestlers on the roster. And again, given the opportunity, it wasn't the women that were lacking before, to an extent maybe in the ring, but they weren't just being given the opportunity. And when given the opportunity, surprise, surprise, they stole the show. What a concept. Give the women more time. They'll take advantage of it and steal the show. And they kind of specifically point out the WrestleMania 32 pay-per-view where it was Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte for the Divas, or rather the WWE Women's Championship, and how they stole the show there. They talked about how the Divas division evolved into the Women's division in 2016. They recapped the first ever Women's Hell in the Cell match, the Money in the Bank match. Triple H says it speaks to where the world is at, that the women are, kind of breaking boundaries and doing all these historic things and whatnot. And again, the world evolved with the women before WWE did. So they kind of act like they're on the forefront of change here. They were really kind of among the last people to move in that direction, to start taking the women more seriously. Other companies, other, forms of sports and entertainment were already starting to do that. It took WWE a lot longer than it should. At least it's happening. I'm happy about that. But still. They discussed the women's match in Abu Dhabi, the This Is Hope chant. The Women's Rumble and Rousey's debut at the pay-per-view is recapped. Flair says that sports entertainment is where everyone wants to be, including Ronda Rousey, apparently. Which is true. Ronda Rousey does actually want to be here. She is very happy to be in WWE. This whole special is kind of formed around her. It's really not the road to Evolution, let's face it. It's really Ronda Rousey's road to WWE Evolution. Talking about where she debuted from where she debuted to where she is today, heading into the main event of the upcoming pay-per-view. So Triple H says that expectations will rise with Ronda Rousey around, saying that now that we really have a star with the women, which is kind of a shot at the current women, but whatever, that people will start to take the women more seriously, and that the women really have to deliver now, as if they weren't before. Like, give me a break. If anyone should know that, it's Triple H, just because he booked the women properly in NXT. They get to the main roster, and they're jokes. Anyway, they recap WrestleMania 34 with the several women's matches, including Naomi winning the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. What was it? The Raw Women's Championship match with Nia Jax beating Alexa Bliss. The SmackDown Women's Championship match. I don't think they talk about that, actually, between Charlotte and Asuka. They may have shown a clip of it. I don't remember it. A large part of the focus was on Ronda Rousey's match, alongside Kurt Angle against the Authorities, Triple H and Stephanie. So she made her in-ring debut, exceeded all expectations. Evolution, the pay-per-view, was announced. Becky Lynch said, it's the culmination of everyone's hard work. And Sonya Deville said, we're setting a new tone here. So they kind of recap the quick things heading into Evolution, including the Mae Young Classic, that's mentioned. They highlight the Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane feud, dating back to TakeOver Brooklyn 4 from a few months ago. They recap Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey winning gold at SummerSlam, which set the stage for their current matches at Evolution. The Bellas were watching from the front row, which obviously planted the seeds for Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey at Evolution. Flair knew that Rousey would do well, but she did not know that she would catch on as fast as she did. So I like that because she is true, she is accurate, she is very right in saying that, and I hope that use that same clip in the build-up to the inevitable WrestleMania match between Charlotte and Ronda, which you know is coming at WrestleMania 35. How can it not? They talk about Paige real quickly winning the Divas Championship in 2014, the night after WrestleMania when she made her debut, and now she's the GM of SmackDown, and how that's progressive for the company as well. They quickly highlight Renee Young joining the Raw commentary team in the last couple of months. And Stephanie says that the women made it happen. Yeah, it wasn't the fucking company. It was the women. You're absolutely right about that. I hate that Stephanie's all over this shit. Because it's not about Stephanie. She's not the fucking mama bear to all these women here. I can see how Triple H, if anyone, is probably a better fit for that role than Stephanie. But whatever. Ronda Rousey says that she wants to be the change that she wants to see in the world. And that includes coming to WWE and changing the perception of women's wrestling over here. And then they play Kick in the Door by Xena Pax, or whatever her name is, to close out this show. So, again, this is a lot of PR stuff, a lot of stuff you already knew. Nothing is groundbreaking here. It really felt like one of those WWE 24 specials, but not nearly as good. Not with any real exclusive content or quotes. It was just a lot of the same stuff put into a 20-minute piece that, again, it aired on the USA Network because they want to show the casual audience, hey, look how progressive we are. We're so great. Yeah, sure, but it's like it was the women who made it happen, not the company, but whatever. It's really not worth going out of your way to say. Again, if it gets added to the network soon, it might already be on the network, I'm not sure. No real reason to check it out. If anything, if you really want to spend a good chunk of time watching something women's wrestling related heading into Evolution on Sunday, watch one of those old 24 specials. Those were great. Those did a lot to change the perception of women's wrestling. Not what the fuck this was with Stephanie all over it and a lot of just PR nonsense. So again, check it out if you will. It's only like 20, 21 minutes long, but I kind of thought it was a waste of time. I thought it would be something a lot different than what it was. And it kind of, touched upon the main feuds and stuff for Evolution on Sunday, but it did nothing to get me more excited for the event than I already was. So again, check out the old 24 specials, some of which I've already talked about here on the show before, many months back, so check those out here on Network and Chill and on the WWE Network itself. So thank you guys for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. You can find me on the socials on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews, on Twitter as well at WrestleRan. All the links are in the description box down below. And we'll be back with another new Network and Chill. I think I should have one right up around the time of this one. This might be going up on Thursday. The next one should be going up on Friday or Saturday, probably Saturday. And it's going to be talking about the latest episode of Total Divas, so be sure to check that out. Anyway, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy Evolution this coming Sunday, and I'll catch your ass down the road.